Now, there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world right now. Things are really changing, and we're reminded of those things on a daily basis on the news and on social media. But today, I want to talk about things that are really changing right here in South Florida in 2023. Hey guys, it's Robert. Welcome to my channel, which is all about real estate and living right here in sunny South Florida. I put out weekly videos about both of those topics. And if you're interested in that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. It does help the channel grow. It helps with the YouTube algorithm, and I would really appreciate it. Also, I'm a licensed real estate agent, so if you have any questions or need any help buying or sell a property anywhere in the South Florida area, I would love to be your real estate resource. All you gotta do is reach out. So let's dive into today's topic. So today we're talking about things that are changing down here in South Florida, and we have to start with the big one, and that has to be the cost of living, and that's on everybody's mind. And being that this is a real estate channel, the biggest expense that everyone has as far as cost of living on a monthly basis is housing. So we have to mention housing prices and rent, both of which are at an all-time high. Now, if you hear some people, especially some people on YouTube and the media, they're all talking about prices going down, but that's not really what I'm seeing here. We're actually starting to go up again. Now, we've gone through a very crazy real estate market ever since COVID. So we did see a little bit of a lull. You know, time of year had something to do with it as well, going into the holidays. But now that we're coming out of spring and going into the summer months, things are really starting to pick up. Now, if you look at some of the data, you can see where some areas might show a slight decrease in price, but overall, guys, prices are expensive and they're going up. Not like they were, but they are on the rise, especially if you're going to take homes anywhere between, say, the $400,000 range up to $800,000. Those are absolutely going up in price. So things are very expensive here in South Florida, especially as far as the real estate is concerned. Everything else, cost of living, groceries, gas, everything is expensive everywhere. But here in South Florida, things are as expensive as they ever have been. Now, another big topic here where things are really changing is, I guess you want to call it overpopulation. And this kind of covers, you know, a few different areas. So even as population growth has slowed through a lot of other areas throughout the country, it has grown here in the state of Florida ever since 1945, and it's just continuing to grow more than ever. So recently, since COVID, especially where people were able to work from wherever they wanted, remote work, you know, the weather has always been a big draw, lack of state income tax, Florida has seen a major boom in inbound migration. Now, between 2021 and 2022, I think about 320,000 people moved to the state of Florida. Now, this is the most out of all the 49 states and Washington, D.C. Now, the problem with all of this is all the congestion. So if you're a local or someone that's been here for a while, like myself, I've been here since 2005, you definitely see the difference. Now, if someone has been here even longer than that, this is a really big deal. So this all breaks down to perspective. For someone moving here from, say, Chicago or New York, New Jersey or something like that, it might not seem like a big deal, especially when it comes to things like traffic and infrastructure, which is all tied into this as well. We're seeing more building going on right now, and traffic is at an all-time high. But for someone coming from Chicago, like I said, New York, they look at this traffic and then just like, this is not really bad traffic. I've been in much worse. This is nothing. This is baby stuff. But for someone who's been here in Florida, it's not normal, and it's becoming a real big deal. Now, personally for myself, I grew up in New York. I know what it's like driving in and out of Manhattan to go to work. You know, I've lived in Los Angeles on the 405 freeway and others 101. I mean, the traffic was way worse than it is even now. That traffic is as bad as I've ever seen it in the state of Florida. especially South Florida. So traffic is something, it is an issue for people that have been here for a while. But again, you got to put this into perspective. It depends on what you're comparing it to. Now, another change where I've been hearing this from a lot of the locals, that they're losing that sort of vacation feel that they, love so much about living down here in South Florida. Now, a lot of people come to Florida for vacation, obviously because of the weather and the activities, but it's a whole different ballgame when you actually live here full time. So there is an article that talks about this that I thought was pretty interesting. It says so many people come here for a week or two on vacation and think their life is going to be like that every day. And also there is a 14,000 member Facebook group for people moving out of Florida, and they cited severe weather, low wages, crowded beaches, changing politics, and steep housing prices as the reasons people left. Which brings me to the next thing on the list where people think it's changing. I'm not sure if I agree with this, and that is climate and weather. So big hot topic. We just had the flooding in Fort Lauderdale from that rainstorm. Everybody remembers Ian from last hurricane season. So this is becoming a very hot topic with climate, and people saying the climate is changing, and a lot of people predicting that the state will be underwater. And I'm not even sure when this is supposed to happen, but all you need to do is a quick Google search on things that are changing in South Florida. Now you can see the results here. Oh, look at this guy who's at the top position. You should call him. Anyway, you can see the results. How will climate change affect South Florida? What is happening in Florida with climate change? How hot would it be in 20 years? Sea risk rise, transformation of South Florida landscape, what climate means. I mean, I can go on and on, guys. This is number one, or the first page of Google, and everything has to do with climate and weather, and all I've typed in to Google was things changing in South Florida. So my opinion, this is just a little fear-mongering going on. There's always been storms. We've had hurricanes here in Florida forever. I remember from history when I was growing up that there was an ice age that wiped out all the dinosaurs. Someone can call that a severe case of climate change. I lived in California. We had earthquakes. The Midwest has tornadoes. Are they getting worse? I'm not sure if they are. There's not really any data that proves that. Obviously, some people could jump on me and say that there is, but I haven't seen it. But anyway, if you're concerned about weather, especially if you're concerned about hurricanes, or if you're concerned about Florida being underwater anytime soon, either buy a property that's a little more inland and not on the coast, or don't move to the state of Florida. That's the best advice that I can give you. Just like I wouldn't move to the Midwest if you don't want to be in a tornado, or don't move to California if you don't want to have the chance of having an earthquake. So it is what it is, guys. We have hurricanes here in South Florida, and every once in a while we'll have some bad weather. But that's what it is. That's Florida. I don't think it's changing for the worse, but we do have hurricanes, and the weather could be an issue. Now, the next thing that's changing, and this is for the good, and some people might not agree with me about this, and that is the economy is booming here in the whole state of Florida. Now, you can go and talk about the wages not being as much as other areas like California and New York, and you're right. The cost of living is very high, and it's unaffordable for a lot of people because of the salaries. That's also true. But the fact is the economy is getting better. There are more jobs than ever, and unemployment is at an all-time low. Also, more businesses are moving to the state than ever before. So there's much more opportunities. So you have to be happy, and that has to be a good sign. And last but not least, guys, we're going to close this out with that dirty word and that subject that people just can't talk about anymore without offending each other, and that is politics. Now, it's kind of relevant right now because Florida has changed as far as their politics in the last few years with the election of DeSantis, the governor, who is Republican, and a lot of people are moving here from other states that are not conservative, and they look at things a little bit differently. So if you like the way things are run and the policies they support in, say, New York or New Jersey or California or Chicago or any of the other big states that are blue, I guess you would want to call it, or that they have liberal type politics, you might want to not move to the state of Florida because, most people, I don't say most people, but, the voters spoke, and in Florida, they do not agree with those policies. So I guess if you think that children could be taught anything with no boundaries in school, maybe you would not want your kids to go to the schools here in Florida because they do not believe that. If you believe in extreme gun control measures, maybe Florida might not be the place for you. So I can go on and on about this. So the long and short of it is that Florida is not run like in New York and other states that I mentioned earlier. Now, fun fact, South Florida, actually Broward County, which is where I live, is the most liberal part of the state. I did not even know that. You would never really even notice that if you were here anyway, because I haven't noticed many people talking politics or many protests or any of that type of stuff going on. People just really keep to themselves, so I don't even really think about it, but it is something I have to bring up because a lot of people are talking about the state of Florida and the politics, and a lot of people moving here because of politics in other areas, so I thought I would bring it up. Okay guys, we're gonna wrap it right there. Things that are really changing here in South Florida. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, I'm a licensed realtor. If you have any interest in South Florida or looking to buy or sell a home, I would love to be your real estate resource. All you gotta do is reach out. You can connect with me at rob@homesbyrobertz.com or call me at the number below or send me a text, and I'll catch you guys all on the next video. Take care.